Welcome to the deep dive. We've got a really compelling stack of material in front of us today. Things like notes, documents, even some personal accounts. And they all seem to point towards this, well, the story tangled around two people, Ava and Daniel. Your sources, they lay out a pretty complex series of events, actually. Starts subtle, but then, wow.
Yeah, it builds.
So our goal here, diving into this specific material you've shared, is to figure out what happened, right? Who's involved?
And what are the crucial bits, the insights hidden in there?
Exactly. This isn't just like retelling a story. It's about uncovering those layers of truth.
And this set of sources is particularly rich for that kind of digging, I think, like you picked up on. The way the info unfolds suggests a deliberate mystery.
Right.
Starts small, observations, but points to much bigger kind of real-world implications. It's fascinating how these hidden connections just redefine everything.
Absolutely. So let's jump right in. Where do the sources start us off?
Okay, a lot of the early notes describe a scene that feels almost deliberately normal, like you said. We're at this quiet cafe, Oak Street, focus on Ava. The accounts paint her as someone with a steady routine. You know, graphic designer, likes her usual spot, usual order.
Predictable, safe.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then that predictability just gets shattered. Daniel arrives. The sources, and this includes some pretty detailed notes that look like they might be his.
Right.
They describe him vividly, tall, dark coat, kind of messy hair. But it's his approach that signals something's off.
Yeah, he doesn't look for another table.
No. He heads straight for her spot, her regular one, and asks to sit down.
And what's immediately clear when you piece these early accounts together is that this was not random. His opening line, "You come here every day," that's not just an observation.
No, it's knowledge, prior knowledge.
Exactly. His notes confirm he'd been watching her. And that detail, simple as it sounds, that's the first major insight from these sources. The encounter wasn't casual, it was calculated. Right, and he kind of bypasses all the usual small talk. The notes mention he barely talks about himself, just focuses on Ava. Even notices she looks a little sad.
He's seeing her, but she doesn't know how he's seeing her. Not yet.
Okay, so the turning point, according to these documents, it happens on this rainy morning. Ava may be driven by that tension or just a gut feeling. She asks about the little black notebook he always has.
And this is where the source material itself becomes really key. When Daniel actually shares the notebook, which is described in multiple places as a big moment, a risk.
Yeah.
It reveals more than just sketches. You see maps, dates, these cryptic notes. And then the undeniable proof. What looks like a hidden photo.
Of Ava.
Months earlier.
Right.
Outside her own apartment.
Whoa.
So this isn't just observation anymore, it's surveillance. The sources use this reveal to just completely reframe that whole cafe interaction.
Exactly. That casual meeting is suddenly not casual at all. Ava's reactions noted in some fragmented accounts is just pure shock, and she whispers, like, "What is this?" And Daniel's explanation, recorded in what looks like a transcript or maybe a dictated note, it's the first bombshell these sources drop. He didn't just find her by chance, he says.
Because someone is looking for you, Ava.
And I'm the only one who can stop them.
That statement right there, preserved across different source fragments.
Yeah.
That's the pivot. It goes from strange, maybe a bit creepy, to immediately dangerous.
Totally.
The accounts detail her physical reaction, heart pounding, frozen, fight or flight.
Right.
But the real insight here, drawing from all these pieces, is the sheer weight Daniel just drops on her. It raises questions about who's looking for her, obviously, but it also sets up Daniel as this self-proclaimed protector.
Without explaining why or how he knows anything.
Exactly. And that mystery highlighted by what the sources don't tell us about Daniel right away, that's just as significant as what they do reveal.
So that first meeting leaves Ava completely reeling. Understandably, the sources talk about a sleepless night, just confusion and fear. Her personal notes mention she hesitates to call the police. I mean, how do you even explain that?
Sounds crazy, right? This guy I just met says people are hunting me.
Exactly. But then the mystery deepens. She gets this communication, and it points right to her past. An anonymous message on her phone. You don't have to be afraid. Meet me where the stars fell. You'll understand.
Okay, that phrase, where the stars fell, it's a perfect example of how these sources layer in personal history. The detailed accounts explain it wasn't just like a poetic line. It refers to an old observatory.
Right.
But more than that, it was a place her father took her as a kid. And he called it that the night the stars fell, after a meteor shower they saw.
Something only she would know.
Pretty much. The insight is clear. Whoever sent this knows something incredibly intimate about her childhood, a detail very few people would recognize. This immediately shifts the scope. The threat isn't just current, it's rooted deep in her past.
And of course she goes to the observatory, and Daniel's there.
Confirms he sent it.
The sources paint this as a real confrontation for Ava. She's demanding answers. Who are you? What is going on?
Yeah, she's had enough of the mystery.
And Daniel's response, captured in these dialogue notes, is another huge piece of the puzzle. He says her name wasn't always Ava.
That she had another name long ago, before the accident.
And the kicker, he tells her she doesn't remember him.
That lack of memory, coupled with his certainty, it's a defining insight from these sources. And he provides the proof, right? The locket.
Yeah, the small, worn gold locket. Inside, a photo. Two little kids, a boy and a girl.
He identifies them. Young Ava, young Daniel. And his account, it's detailed in these narrative sections, explains she was adopted, age 7, after a devastating fire.
A fire that caused memory damage.
Exactly. And her new life, new name, it was all meant for safety.
And his motivation for finding her.
He says he never stopped looking, made a promise to her mother.
Wow.
Which leads right into the terrifying context that ties it all together. The sources reveal Ava's mother is alive, but in hiding.
Because the people who set the fire, they weren't just random arsonists.
No, they were looking for something her family had. And now, after all this time, they think Ava has it.
And that something, the recovered notes describe it as a code, hidden in a painting.
A painting your father made before he died. It holds the key to something powerful and dangerous.
Jeez.
And Daniel, he really solidifies their connection then. He says, I was your best friend, your protector. And then adds, maybe more, if time had been kind.
Wow.
When you look at all the sources describing this moment, the core insight is just the sheer weight of this hidden legacy. Ava's in danger not because of who she is now, but because of this forgotten identity, this family secret tied to something incredibly powerful. That changes everything for her.
Okay, so armed with this staggering information, Ava goes back to her apartment. She needs to find that painting. The sources describe her searching, finding it an abstract piece from her childhood she was told was recovered from the fire.
Something she probably never looked twice at before.
Right. And the breakthrough comes when she examines it closely. The sources detail her finding the small star symbol, 3 dots, on the back of the wooden frame.
And crucially,
it matches the symbol on the back of the locket Daniel showed her.
That symbol match. That's the key. That unlocks the next layer. The documents explain how finding this leads her to, like, a hidden section in the canvas itself.
Whoa.
Inside, a folded piece of paper. And the contents, meticulously transcribed in the sources, a sketch looks like a map of a house, and this cryptic sequence, EVA 174X21 Lion's Eye NG.
Okay, Lion's Eye NG. And precisely at that moment, just as she finds this,
the danger ramps up again, fast.
Daniel arrives, urgent, out of breath, warning that they found your address.
They have to leave now.
Yeah.
This immediate threat, it just validates everything Daniel told her. It's real. The sources describe this frantic escape, moving quickly, sticking to shadows, ending up at a parking garage.
The black motorcycle.
Right. And Daniel's actions, they're noted in the accounts, just pure protection mode, scanning everywhere. The insight here is that sudden shift, from uncovering these historical secrets to facing immediate physical danger.
They make this desperate dash out of the city, heading for an old abandoned farmhouse Daniel thinks is safe. Temporarily, at least.
A temporary safe haven.
Once they're there, Ava shows Daniel the paper she found in the painting.
And Daniel's reaction, it's recorded in the dialogue notes. It's significant. He calls it the last piece.
He understands the code.
Immediately. The sources explain his interpretation. It's a message from her father. A breadcrumb trail leading to something called the Lion's Eye.
Which isn't like a jewel or something?
No. It's a drive, maybe secret file, containing highly sensitive data.
About what?
Specifically information about illegal government tests.
Oh, wow. Okay. And he connects this back to why her father was targeted.
Yeah, exactly. The sources indicate her father used to work for them, whoever they are.
And he found out about these tests.
Discovered the truth, intended to expose it. Her mother escaped with Ava, but the fire was set.
Injuring Ava, causing the memory loss.
Right. They hit her, new identity, thinking she'd be safe.
Right.
But somehow, years later, the trail got picked up again.
And Daniel confirms he knows where this Lion's Eye is, based on the code.
Yeah, he said the map sketch from the painting matches the location he already knows. And the code NG. Norcross Glen, a village where the house on the map is located.
Okay.
The key insight from this exchange, looking at the sources, is how it pieces together her father's motive and the origin of the threat, connecting it directly to the specific, dangerous information he hid.
And Daniel, he reiterates why he's doing all this.
He says Ava saved him when they were kids. That she represented hope for him. He feels he owes her everything.
The narrative accounts, they really show trust building between them, even with her fragmented memories.
Yeah, despite everything.
So the decision is made, it's recorded in their plans. They're going to Norcross Glen together.
To find the Lion's Eye.
So their journey takes them towards Norcross Glen. In an old Jeep this time. And the sources use this travel time for Ava to learn more about her parents, but through Daniel's eyes, his memory.
Right. He describes her father as brilliant, kind, driven by truth, and wanting her safe.
And her mother.
Strong, fierce, calls her light.
Wow.
This brief window, it's detailed in the narrative sections, it sort of anchors Ava to the people behind this whole mystery. Gives her a personal stake beyond just, surviving.
They arrive at this small, forgotten village, find the hidden house in the woods, overgrown, covered in vines, and the accounts mention Ava feels this strange sense of familiarity when she sees it, like a flicker of connection despite the amnesia.
Interesting.
They search the dusty house, attic. They find an old chest. And the sources describe the key discovery inside. Papers, photos, notes filling in more history.
And taped under the lid.
The flash drive, the Lion's Eye.
Bingo. That's the payoff the sources have been building towards. They found it.
But the relief is incredibly short-lived.
Yeah, the accounts just abruptly shift tone. Detail the sound of a car approaching.
People arrive at the house, voices inside, tense, searching.
Someone says, "It's here. I know it."
Oh, yeah.
The insight is clear. They were followed, or maybe their destination was already known, the danger is no longer theoretical. It's right there.
The sources describe Daniel's immediate reaction. Grab Ava, run. But Ava makes this critical decision here. It's highlighted in her own later reflections, apparently. She doesn't just follow. She pulls the flash drive from his pocket and hides it in her boot.
Oh, she takes ownership, control.
Exactly. It's noted as a real shift in her character.
And the sources detail this desperate escape out the back door into the trees.
Gunfire erupting behind them, bullets hitting the van they'd parked nearby.
They run, find temporary cover behind a log near a small creek.
And the immediate cost is clear. Daniel's hurt, bleeding arm.
Right.
But amidst the chaos, the sources describe this powerful moment. Ava kisses him.
Seals the bond, their shared purpose.
Her words are captured. We finish what my father started, together.
This escape, as it's documented, it's incredibly narrow. And it underscores a crucial insight from these sources. Having the lion's eye hasn't made them safe. It's made them the primary target.
They have the truth, but the hunt is definitely on.
Full throttle.
Okay, so with the lion's eye secured, but now actively hunted, what's their next move? According to the sources, they need help decoding it, right? So they head back to the city to find Felix.
Daniel's contact, described as an expert in digital recovery, works out of some old tech building.
The accounts detail Felix analyzing the drive.
And Felix's discovery, as documented, it's way beyond just sensitive files. He calls it a full archive.
An archive of intelligence on powerful people?
Exactly. And crucially, the data is linked to a project called Orpheus.
Orpheus.
Daniel's reaction, as recorded in the notes, confirms how significant that name is. It's a highly classified operation that started right around the time Ava's father vanished.
So the lion's eye isn't just evidence?
It's a direct link to this massive hidden system.
The decryption process, detailed in the documents, reveals layers, conversations, illicit payments.
And a chilling video of Ava's father, speaking in code, clearly aware they were coming for him.
Which confirms Ava's realization. Her father knew. He knew they'd come.
And Felix points out the immense risk involved here. The sources note his warning. Fully accessing the data will trigger failsafes. It'll alert them.
But Ava's response, captured in the stark dialogue, shows how much she's changed. She says, "Let them know. We're not hiding anymore."
Wow. Bold.
But Daniel hesitates, right. The notes mention it, that protective tension between them.
Her resolve to expose versus his instinct to shield her.
And the sources recount the inevitable consequence of accessing that truth.
Alarms.
Yeah, alarms blare. They've been traced. The accounts grimly state Felix is killed in the chaos.
Oh, no.
Daniel manages to thrust a backup encrypted flash drive into Ava's hand during their escape.
Wow. That violent confrontation, losing Felix,
Yeah.
It's a brutal confirmation of the stakes. The insight the sources deliver there is just stark. The information is literally deadly.
Their narrow escape from the building, gunfire all around, it underscores the ruthless lengths they will go to.
Oh, absolutely.
So their city contact is gone, location compromised. Where do they go? The documents say they head north, into the mountains.
To find the architect.
Described as her father's closest friend, someone who helped him create his hiding system.
The sources recount their arrival at this hidden cabin, meeting the architect. The description is striking. Tall, thin, a scar. Eyes like frozen glass.
Chilling. And he recognizes Ava, her resemblance to her father.
Immediately. Noted as a powerful moment, connecting her visually to the past Daniel described.
His setup, detailed in the accounts, sounds intense. Maps, books, a wall of screens.
Security feeds, data streams. He confirms it. He helped build the network to hide her father.
And he analyzes the data from the drive. The backup drive.
Yes. And his discovery, revealed in these documents, adds this terrifying new dimension to Orpheus. It wasn't just about control or illegal tests. It was about replacement.
Replacement? What does that mean?
They were creating doubles, biometric clones, psychological shadows of powerful individuals to infiltrate, control key positions globally.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Right. But the most shocking revelation from the architect, according to these sources, it's aimed right at Ava. He shows her a photo dated before she was born.
Okay.
It shows her father, himself, and a girl who looks identical to young Ava.
What? Who's...
This girl, he explains, was a prototype based on her mother's DNA, the first version of the project.
The first version.
Her father went into hiding when he refused to cooperate further, and they simply assumed Ava, when she was born, was the second version.
Making her an inherent target because of who her mother was and this prototype.
Exactly. This reveal is devastating. The sources portray its weight. It's the core insight that just redefines everything Ava thought she knew. Her whole life, the fire, the memory loss, the hunt, it's all tied back to this monstrous project and a case of mistaken identity based on her genetic link.
Despite, how do you even process that? But her resolve, as captured in the narrative, it doesn't break.
No, it hardens.
She says, "We bring the truth to the world. We show them what Orpheus is. The plan is set. Use an abandoned satellite station in the mountains. A synchronized global broadcast.
Take the fight to them."
The sources detail their journey to the station, the tense setup of the broadcast equipment, final preparations before they unleash the truth.
And then the sources just hit you with this shocking twist.
Just before they go live, the architect reveals he betrayed them.
No. Why?
He activated a beacon, alerted them, his justification recorded in this chilling dialogue. The world isn't ready.
He thinks the world will turn on them, that Orpheus doesn't need to destroy her.
The world will do it for them.
Unbelievable, after everything.
Immediate chaos erupts. Detailed vividly in the accounts, sirens, approaching vehicles, gunfire around the station.
The architect tells them to run as the tower starts to burn.
Wow.
The intensity of this escape, described across multiple viewpoints, it's immense. Running through snow, the Jeep skidding, gunfire, the explosion of the van they used.
The key insight here is just the profound depth of that betrayal, right when they were closest.
But critically, Ava, despite losing the tower, despite the betrayal, she still has the backup drive.
And her resolve, that seems unshaken.
If anything, maybe stronger.
So, plan sabotaged, betrayed by someone they trusted. What now? The sources document their decision, go underground. Daniel leads them to a hidden location in the desert, a contact he trusts implicitly.
And this leads to the reveal of the underground. Not like a militia, but a dispersed community. The accounts describe them as people who've also been burned, betrayed, but not broken by similar powerful forces.
Rhea, the leader. She's introduced, recognizes their struggle immediately.
So this community becomes a crucial resource, not just shelter, but knowledge.
Right. The sources detail how they help, sharing intel, mapping safe zones, and training Ava.
Training her.
And what? Digital broadcasting, advanced ways to protect the drive, the art of disappearing, practical skills.
And Rhea's advice, trust no one without scars. That's noted as a lesson that hits home after the architect.
Definitely.
Meanwhile, the hunt, tracked by the Underground's network, it intensifies. Red circles appear on their maps, disappearances, whistleblowers, others who might be threats. Orpheus is actively cleaning house.
So the Underground prepares to move, and they decide to split the data on the drive, encrypt pieces, disperse them for safety.
Smart. If one part is compromised, the whole truth doesn't vanish.
The plan for the final transmission is meticulously laid out in the sources. A synchronized broadcast from a moving van.
A moving van.
Yeah, designed to signal jump through the mountains, hitting as many news outlets, independent channels globally as possible. Mobile and hard to pinpoint.
Wow. Okay.
The accounts build the tension leading up to it, Ava, in this makeshift recording booth. Rhea's final advice. Don't try to convince them. Just show them.
Let the evidence speak.
The 10s drive into the canyons where they'll start the transmission.
And then it happens. Broadcast goes live. Ava's face appears on screens worldwide.
And the sources describe the content she reveals undeniable evidence.
Video from Orpheus Labs, images of test subjects, kids with ID codes, leaked documents, names, satellite footage of secret compounds, a list of vanished journalists.
She holds nothing back.
And her words, simple but powerful, quoted directly. My name is Ava Reyes. My brother died because of them. And now they want to erase me.
The truth doesn't need permission. It only needs a voice.
Powerful.
But the signal is immediately targeted. They're found. Again.
Of course.
And the sources describe Daniel making this critical, selfless decision. He stays with the van.
To do what?
To maintain the signal connection as long as possible. By Ava time, she needs to take the drive to a backup relay post on a nearby ridge.
He sacrifices himself.
That's what it looks like. The accounts detail Ava's desperate climb, scrambling up the ridge, gunfire again, her struggle.
Then the explosion of the van below.
Oh, man.
And her final act, plugging the drive into the relay post.
Does it work?
The signal connects. The backup server comes online. Broadcast resumes.
The world sees everything.
Wow. Just wow. The sources describe the immediate aftermath. Chaos. Globally, screens flashing, news stations scrambling, social media exploding with the raw footage.
The government's issued denials, of course.
But the truth, unfiltered, backed by that archive, it's out there, distributed. The insight is just the sheer, undeniable force of it.
Ava watches from hiding, witnessing the ripple effect, and Daniel contacts her.
You made it.
Miraculously. Injured, but alive. The underground is successfully dispersing. He tells her they've sparked something.
And the consequences. The later accounts detail them.
Yeah, significant and far-reaching, powerful figures implicated in Orpheus start to fall. Official investigations finally open.
Reports of secret prisons being empty, whistleblowers getting protection.
Exactly. But the sources are also clear. This isn't the end.
No, new threats emerge, dark figures watching, new alliances forming among those who want to bury the truth again.
The power that hid in the shadows is now hunting in the daylight.
It's a different kind of fight now.
Ava accepts her old life is over, completely redefined by the truth she carries. Daniel joins her. And the sources describe their focus shifting. Not just survival, but building something new.
Like what?
A network. Truth tellers, safe houses for others targeted, education centers. A movement, really, built on the courage they found and the honesty they exposed.
That arc, laid out in these sources, is profound. The secret Daniel initially kept to protect Ava, hiding her from her past.
It becomes the powerful, dangerous truth she exposes.
Leading to this global reckoning, this fight for transparency that's clearly far from over. That transformation from hidden secret to global catalyst. That's the central insight from all this material.
What an incredible journey through these sources you shared with us. Seriously. From, like you said, a seemingly simple encounter at a cafe, piecing together clues from notes, accounts.
Yeah.
We uncovered this unbelievably complex web, secrets, a hidden past, this terrifying government cloning project,
Orpheus,
profound betrayal, and then ultimately this global fight for truth sparked by one person's courage.
It's a stark reminder, isn't it?
Yeah.
How much can be hidden right in plain sight or buried by powerful forces. And analyzing the different types of sources here, the fragments, the personal accounts, the recovered data, it really underscored how truth can exist in pieces.
Yeah.
Requires work to assemble.
It absolutely does. And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? Reflecting on everything Ava risked, everything Daniel sacrificed, and those chilling words from the architect that maybe the world isn't ready for certain truths. What would you be willing to risk to bring a powerful, dangerous truth you discovered into the light?
Or is the architect right? Is the world truly ready to confront its own shadows? Or would it just try to silence the messenger?
Something to definitely think about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into your sources. It was quite something.
Thank you.
Keep asking questions, everyone. Keep digging into the